What up, everybody? The trailer for BMF Season 3, Episode 8, titled Code Red, shows Meech telling Duffy that they're about to make drug crimes federal, and if they don't find a way to protect the work and the homies, then guaranteed they're next. And yesterday I briefly touched on how BMF will at some point get the feds in their pocket to always stay a step ahead, similar to Meech employing Detective Bryant in Season 1, but just on a much larger scale. I also talked about how Meech and T bumped into the boxer Mac Attack outside of Platinum Palace, and he had hidden compartments in his Bentley, and told the Flannery brothers about a guy in Miami who could hook them up. And we also know that BMF will later start a car service similar to what T was doing in Season 2, but this will be a car service that doesn't transport passengers, but cocaine from location to location, with coke stashed inside the hidden compartments throughout the vehicle. But in this video, I want to focus specifically on how Meech will begin to send the feds in the wrong direction by using a smoke and mirrors type philosophy, as we see Tina and some of the other guys in the club making it rain. And we know that this is what Big Meech was known for, other than drug dealing, going to all the clubs, blowing all kinds of money, making it rain, blowing money fast, also being extremely flashy, seemingly purposely trying to draw the attention to himself. And this really bothered Terry, who was more conservative and didn't really like all that partying, but preferred things like fine dining to clubbing. But at the end of the day, what brought BMF down was not Meech's lavish lifestyle, but it was the wiretaps that the feds had on Terry talking on the phone. Now keep in mind what Meech was telling Duffy. He was talking about finding a way to protect the work and the homies, knowing if he's leaving his people exposed on the streets and they get busted, it's going to come back to him anyway. Plus, if the Red Dogs, the feds, or whoever else keeps seizing all the work, that is money out their pockets, possibly even leaving them owing their plugs if the raids were causing them to lose too much work and not be able to move the rest of the weight. So like Meech was telling Claude in episode 6, that he has to be the type of leader that men can follow if he wanted to be the king of Atlanta. And Meech is going to prove that he's just that, as he plans to elevate to God status, moving omnipresently. Keeping in mind that the theme song for the Season 3 trailer was the Tupac song, All Eyes on Me. And this is exactly what Meech is going to do. Put all eyes on him, the boss, keeping the feds' eyes off the crew in the process. And this is where the smoke and mirror effect that Meech and T learned as kids will come into play. Episode 2, we saw Meech and T doing magic tricks for the rest of their family, as the narrator OG Meech went on to say. As kids, we were taught to believe in magic. Santa sliding down the chimney, the tooth fairy dropping nickels. But eventually, you find out the truth, that it's all just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Because everyone's pulling small moves you ain't supposed to see. That's the magic behind the magic. But if you can't spot the trick, that sleight of hand might become the fist that knocks your ass out. And this is exactly how Meech is going to handle the Red Dogs in Atlanta. And possibly once he sees it works, he'll even start doing this everywhere else. Real quick, the definition of smoke and mirrors is simply intended to make you believe that something is being done or is true when it is not. So far we've seen Meech in the club partying with his crew, the same crew that he'd been doing business with in the streets. But now that the Red Dogs are becoming a problem, it's time to switch things up and use the smoke and mirrors effect. So moving forward, I think Meech will assign a crew to basically pose as drug dealers who party with Meech in the club, who draws all the attention by making it rain, being extremely flashy, driving luxury cars, and so on, to take all the attention away from the people actually moving the work and doing the dirt in the streets. As for Meech, keep in mind what OG Meech said in episode 1 of this season when it showed OG Meech and Terry in 2007 when they were about to go to court. He said, "I'm flashy, but I'm also smart as fuck." So was there a method to the madness that T just didn't understand when it came to Meech? Because Meech was able to start drawing the attention to himself as part of the smoke and mirrors because the fact he started moving omnipresently, not talking on phones. He felt comfortable drawing the attention to himself as long as the eyes were off the ones who was really doing the dirty work. Keeping in mind again that the theme song for Season 3 is All Eyes on Me. So this might be Meech's plan moving forward, because he talked about how he had a 20-year run that only came to an end because of Terry talking on the phone all the time. So I believe this will be Meech's plan he will use to protect the homies and keep them from catching federal crimes and snitching on him. Like Meech told Remy Ransom in episode 5, he sees the bigger picture. In the episode 8 trailer, we see the Red Dogs doing some kind of bust. And notice one of the cops looking at the work in the light like he was confused. The other cop taking one of the bricks and punching dude in the stomach. So I think we could see something very similar to what we saw in Season 3 of Power Book 2 Ghost when Tariq set up Effie to get busted with sugar. In a similar way, I think Meech will have the Decoy crew from the club looking like they're moving weight as they're being watched by the Red Dogs, only for the Red Dogs to find out it was sugar or something like that and they've been played. While this is going on, the real weight is probably being moved at another location. And we already know that Meech plays hot potato with the work, getting it and getting it gone. But it might also have to come to a point where he no longer even touches the work at all, that he simply just calls the shots. In real life, Meech gave orders to his assistant Yogi, and the crews would get their orders, details, or whatever information they needed third person from Yogi. And it is possible that Tina is based off Yogi, and we could see Meech using Tina as his assistant to keep his hands clean. Get me to the formation of BMF Entertainment using the same smoke and mirrors philosophy. Eventually, BMF is going to grow so big and powerful that the name BMF is going to start ringing out in the streets and causing the feds to look into BMF as organized crime. So Meech will again flip the tables on the feds, forming the hip-hop label BMF Entertainment, basically saying that BMF is not organized crime, but a rap group with a large following. Even going as far as hanging up the BMF billboard saying the world is BMF's. Meech even signed a cat named Blue Da Vinci to this label. Personally, I've never heard a Blue Da Vinci song, but from what I heard, Buddy was trash. So if Meech had all this money, why would he sign an artist that wasn't going to sell? But at the same time, Big Meech allegedly financed the careers of several famous rappers. Why would he do that and not just sign them all under BMF Entertainment? Because it wasn't like he didn't have the money to do so. All the explanation I need is to look at the YSL RICO case with Young Thug. The feds pretty much indicated the whole record label, whether they had any ties to street activity or not. So if Meech would have signed some of the famous rappers that he hung out with in finance, they too would have likely been dragged into the BMF RICO case. So we can see, like Meech said, that he was definitely smart as f***, because his whole philosophy was all about the bigger picture on some next level. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.